This week, I'm thankful for running water. Welcome, everybody, to a new Mr. Thankful 9000 video, and let's just get started. So, quick little story time before I explain the very small amount of history that I know about running water. It was about, I'd say, a month ago. We had the water in our apartment go out, and we had to spend a couple of days without, you know, running water. This stuff right here that you see that I'm looking through. Yeah, when you don't have running water, you don't think about how much stuff that you don't think about how much stuff there is that requires running water. I mean, if you go use the restroom, you need running water for that. If you want to wash the dishes, there's running water. If you want to take a shower, that's more running water. If you want to get a drink, that's running water. Like we use it for quite a few things, and thankfully, I live about 2 blocks from a grocery store, so I was able to go use the restroom there, buy a gallon of drinking water, and I was able to get through for the day. And we got the water fixed the next morning, I think. So it wasn't too bad. It was only one day that I had to deal without it, but it made me realize, wow, this is something I rely on a little more than I thought, and it's definitely something I've taken for granted more than I thought. There was another day where I didn't have electricity. I think they were working on a power line near my apartment, so there was about 4 hours where there was no electricity, and as a result, there's no running water. And without the running water, oh, I forgot about all this. Sorry, getting distracted by the game. Um, Without all of that running water, or without the electricity, there's also no running water. So I got a little bit of a taste of it then as well. And yeah, it made me realize, wow, this is something I just really take for granted, even though it's super, super like necessary to a lot of things. Um, okay, is there anything I really, really need to like take with me here? I guess, whatever. I guess this can kind of all just travel back. It's fine. It's fine. I'm getting distracted by the Minecraft gameplay. This is why you're here, right? You're not here to listen to some guy rant about what he's thankful for. You're really here for the Minecraft content. I'm just kidding. You can watch it for whatever you want. But anyways, don't mind my techno ADHD setting in and my uh, just refusal to have jump cuts. So, anyways, yeah, if you don't have running water, it kind of looks like this place. It's the reason I don't think I could live in like Arizona or like the Southwest. I would just not enough water. I don't I don't think I could do it, man. I just don't think I could. But anyway, it made me realize like, wow, this is just something that we have. And I mean, that's kind of the whole point of my videos, right? There's a lot of things we take for granted on a day-to-day basis, and even I take some of this stuff for granted. Now, just a little history on running water. So, I mean, back to, let's say, I mean, before pre-written times, of course, people had access to running water, but that would be in the form of streams or springs. There wasn't, to my knowledge, there isn't very much from, it's called prehistory, but I like to call it pre-written history because that's a little bit easier to understand. But there wasn't really much in the way of like, people designed pipes or aqueducts and stuff. In fact, the aqueducts and stuff that people think about for running water does go as far back as about the Romans. And I mean, it's a little bit further back than them actually. But they're probably the more like famous example of it all. Um, and they had basically a form of public toilets, which is kind of crazy to think about. Um, but I mean, they had it, and that's genuinely impressive that they had something like that. Because we don't really think like, oh, back in those times, like you just went to the outhouse or you just found nature's toilet paper outside and just dealt with it. But like the Romans were actually a little bit more like civilized than we thought in some ways. Definitely not in others, but we don't talk about that, all right? Um, but anyways, there's like the modern plumbing and infrastructure that we think of didn't really start to come about and become more widespread until, well, maybe the 1800s, and really widespread until the 1900s. I mean, there's places in America, to my knowledge, that were still up until, what, about the 50s? I mean, they'd still have outhouses and stuff. Like, it's not unheard of to go to somewhere and be like, oh, you know, there's an outhouse here instead of, like, technically, you know, technically like a restroom, but it's pretty rare now. Um, yeah, we're just, I mean, here I am in my glass enclosure under the river. Like, there's a bunch of running water. Like, that's just like a normal thing that we take for granted now. And you know, I think that that's something, like, we don't think about how the entire sewer system works. We don't think about how like the drinking water plumbing system works. Well, you might think about the drinking water if you live in like Flint, Michigan or something, where it is kind of just bad on average. But like most of us don't really think about how that all works. I mean, there's a ton of like desalination processes, and it's this very involved thing in order to keep all of it like going. It's really involved. And yet it's just something we take for granted. Now, I didn't grow up on city water. We actually had, where I lived growing up, there was a well. So we actually had well water. Not like the old-timey wells where it's like you put a bucket down and haul it up. What? We weren't that arcane, okay? It wasn't quite that bad. But nonetheless, we did have well water instead of the chlorinated water, and so it's like, oh, you know, it's a little bit simpler. You pass it through some filters and then you have drinking water. It's pretty nice. I like how this video was supposed to be about running water, and now here I am ranting about drinking water. Whatever. It's the same thing. Close enough, right? Although not all running water is drinkable. That is your lesson of the day. If you get nothing else out of this video, don't drink all of the water that is running, because it's not always clean. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now anyways, now as far as running water is concerned, I mean, there's a lot of things to, like, there's actually way more to just water moving than like, oh, we can drink this water or we can use it to plumb our houses for dishes and restrooms and stuff. Like, there's also the fact that water moving through places can power things like hydroelectric dams. In fact, this would probably be a decent segue into, it'd probably be a good segue actually into the video I intend to release next week, which is going to be about electricity. But yeah, running water does literally also contribute to electricity because human beings are crazy and we figured out how to harness like everything possible just in order to like get things done. But I don't want to rant too long about the same thing. So I may or may not call here. Oh, actually, one more thing. One little bit I forgot about my story from earlier. So, when I didn't have water, it was kind of a pain in the neck to use the restroom. Like I said, at least I lived by a grocery store, but it was kind of... I always felt a little bit awkward going in there, like, especially after the first time in the morning, because the first time I actually bought water and stuff, but the second time I'm like, dude, I need to use the restroom. Like, I gotta go, man. So I just kind of like slinked in there, used the restroom, and then just like, nope, no one saw me. Yes, I didn't buy anything, but I bought something this morning. Don't hate me. Have you ever had that experience before when you're like on the road? You go to a gas station or something and you're like, you gotta use the restroom, but you don't actually need gas, and you don't feel like buying your fifth Twinkie of the road trip, so you're like, yeah, I'm just not gonna do that. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I feel so awkward with that. So, anyways, yeah, I'm not sure what buying Twinkies at a gas station has to do with running water, but here you go. This is what you're watching, okay? Because I don't know how to keep a plot line. I'm like the average episode of the Family Guy. It's just a bunch of skits that I cobble together and call it a video. Please don't sue me, Family Guy. Anyways, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, your running water doesn't go out of order this week. But if it does, maybe you can have a story of your own in the comments. Tell me. And tell me what you're thankful for in the comments this week. And I'll see y'all later. As always, stay thankful.